What's actually safe but people think is dangerous?
Flying is statistically safer than driving. Nuclear power is one of the safest energy sources per terawatt hour, and most spiders or sharks pose almost no threat to humans compared to everyday objects.
The nuclear energy thing is the craziest to me. Burning coal for energy gives off more radiation than a nuclear power plant. The fact that nuclear energy is one of the safest energy sources, but we've been lied to and convinced that it's dangerous, is infuriating.
Private aviation is different, though. It's about as safe as riding a motorcycle.
Trick or treating. No one is going to poison your kids' candy.
The only documented death from poisoned Halloween candy was a kid in Texas being poisoned by his own father for an insurance payout. We had another story last year about people finding needles in their kids' candy. Last news we got was that the police were opening an investigation. Nothing since. But I can tell you why we didn't hear about it, because like every single time something like this has happened, they were put in there by the people who called the news. They're attention seekers. Just like those stories of kids finding drugs in their Halloween candy, they actually got into their parents' drugs, and the parents blamed it on the candy to try and shift the blame.
Shh, we still need to check their candy. Don't expose our massive psyop to take free candy every year our kids worked hard for.
GMOs. People automatically equate unnatural with unhealthy and natural with healthy, which is nonsense, and how internet health grifts are so profitable right now.
Over 1 trillion meals have been served with GMOs, not a single negative effect. Can't say that about raw milk, to throw out just one of many kooky diatribes. We'll be relying on GMOs more and more as global warming continues. You can't grow corn in the desert.
The danger with GMOs isn't directly the genes being manipulated, but that the plants are modified to tolerate more pesticides. So the actual danger is the extra pesticides used on them.
My issue with GMOs is that companies now own that plant, etc. We need to always have a normal variety to be able to grow ourselves without getting hit with a lawsuit.
Australia. People act like it's almost certain death to come here. Snakes, spiders, crocodiles. Snakes kill maybe 1 or 2 people a year. Crocs, maybe 1 person. Spiders, which everyone seems absolutely terrified of, to the extent that I see people say they'd never visit Australia due to the spiders. Haven't killed anyone since 1979. It's not death by Australian spider that scares me. It's the huntsman spiders, in the toilet or in the house at all, that I can't handle. YouTube ruined Australia for me.
Where I live, snakes, crocs, and spiders have 0 kills per year. Beat that.
I do love how folks from the US are scared to go to Australia because of spiders. The wildlife in the US will kill you and eat you, but those spiders... Preparing, cooking, and eating chicken is way safer than people make it out to be. Just don't be an absolute idiot about it.
Honestly, just follow basic hygiene. Wash hands before and after handling, clean surfaces and tools after, and cook to an internal temperature of 165 degrees Fahrenheit minimum. It's not that difficult.
I used to work in one of those places where people would cook at the table, similar to Korean barbecue, and once had this dad daring his 5 to 7-year-old to eat a piece of raw chicken. I saw a piece of it in his mouth and immediately ran over to be like, "No, don't do that!" Management had to intervene. He got so pissed that he wasn't allowed to feed raw chicken that he had purchased to his son. Tried to just take it all to go. Another fight ensued when he was informed policy was only cooked food could be boxed and leave the premises. Manager ended up comping their food and kicking them out. I still think the kid ate a piece before management could get there, though. I hate that guy.
Is this a thing? People are afraid of eating chicken? That's like 80% of my protein consumption.
Going out in the cold weather will not make you catch a cold.
No, but cold weather can lower your immune system, making you more susceptible to contracting a virus and catching a cold.
Interferon is a protein that signals the body to fight bacteria and viruses. And in cold weather, the interferon in our noses is greatly reduced, which makes us more susceptible to getting sick.
I know this to be true, but last Sunday, I woke up feeling fine. Then I spent 3 hours clearing the 17 inches of snow that we got in -4-degree weather. I went inside when I was done and immediately started going downhill fast with the worst cold I can ever remember having. I'm still terribly sick a week later. I know it's a coincidence, but it made me question it, LOA. I've been living my adult life in constant fear of putting magnets near my electronics, but it turns out that's not really an issue anymore.
In the 90s, my son had a magnet that he would try to stick on things. It was much stronger than magnetic letters. One day, he put it on the TV screen. Wow, Mom, look what it's doing to the colors. Fortunately, it was in a lower corner. We lived with the prism in the corner. Then it just self-healed.
How prolific are magnets in your life to stir constant fear?
I still instinctively keep them away from any device and probably always will.
I've heard many people say they won't own cats, and others shouldn't either because of toxoplasmosis. By all means, don't own a cat if you don't want one, but the only way you're getting exposed to that is if you let it poop and urinate all over your house and never clean it.
Simply drinking when you're thirsty rather than trying to reach some random number of ounces of water each day. Cheese and yogurt that is past the expiration date. As long as they're not growing anything unusual and smell normal, still being factory sealed helps too. These products, and some others like fermented products, exist because they were examples of how food could be preserved before refrigeration. Expiration dates err on the side of caution and weren't even a thing consumers could use until about 75 years ago. Don't ignore expiration dates on aged and fermented products, but also don't ignore your nose, eyes, and even taste buds. Things can even go bad before the expiration date for a variety of reasons as well.
I've had milk spoil, like smell as such, a few days before the expiration date. I poured it out. Trust your senses, err on the side of caution, because food poisoning isn't something to play with.
Particularly concerning that it has ramped up here in Australia, but sunscreen, it causes cancer. Okay, sure.
The greater danger of sunscreen comes from its toxicity to coral reefs. The Great Barrier Reef in Australia has been damaged by swimmers and divers using toxic sunscreens.
I handle cadmium, worn cadmium plating, a highly toxic heavy metal, with my bare hands all the time. I've discussed it with an actual chemist and my doctor. The verdict? Wash your hands and don't lick it. I'd say that's pretty safe. My wife is terrified to walk when people have seen coyotes in our neighborhood. She doesn't believe that there are virtually 0 instances of coyotes attacking adults. We have seen them several times and they always give us a wide berth. We are both adults and don't have any dogs or pets that we walk, but she is insistent that it's dangerous to walk when there might be coyotes out.
Swimming after eating. Proven numerous times it's an old wives' tale. Public transportation, bus, train, light rail, and so on. There's a perception of it being unsafe, but it's statistically significantly safer than driving.
mRNA. So it's a new way of making a vaccine, but people are scared of it even more than regular vaccines, which are either fragments of viruses or weakened viruses. I would love to tell one of these yahoos they've had mRNA in them since they left the hospital as a baby.
Seed oils. Swapping animal fats out for seed oils reliably improves cardiovascular risk, all-cause mortality, and inflammatory markers, even in a study conducted by the Dutch Dairy Council. Also, GMO food. Obviously, Roundup Ready crops are loaded with glyphosate, but there is no known mechanism by which genetically modified crops in and of themselves are inherently harmful. In some cases, they can actually be lower in pesticides and more nutritious.
Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. It really helps. Subscribe for more and tap the bell so you don't miss the next one.